Your glider skills need work.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Let's go.
What's up, YouTube? So I've been playing Injustice for a while now, since it came out, at least in the UK. And I was just thinking I may as well do a review of the game, let you guys know how I feel about it, and hopefully it'll get you guys to buy it, because it's really good overall. The story itself, it continues from the first game, Injustice Gods Among Us, delving deeper into the ideas of redemption, betrayal, and hope. You'll be using the majority of the roster in the story, and you'll be given player choices that do somewhat have a consequence later in the game. There are actually three different endings. I'm not sure which one is actually canon, to be honest, but I'll get through all of them at some point and figure out which one it is, or just search it up on the internet. So, as we've come to expect from NetherRealm, the story itself is just told beautifully through cut scenes. The quality of them is just excellent, and the voice acting is amazing. One of the best things about the voice acting as well is that it's actually got Robert Englund, the actor who played Freddy Krueger in the original movies. He's the voice of Scarecrow.
You have a high tolerance.
But I just love that they've got him in to do something like that, considering he was also, the character Freddy Krueger was in Mortal Kombat 9, so it's nice to touch back on that. My only gripe with the story is that it doesn't really tell you what's happened in the first game. It just kind of alludes to a lot of the key points that happen, but it doesn't really tell you much. There's not much explanation, which is something that I really would have liked. It would have been nice to have that bit more if you didn't play the first game, and it would have had a bit more of a hard-hitting impact on the game. I think what could have been good in place of actually probably affecting the story itself, would having like a little synopsis video that they do quite a bit in certain things. I believe they even had that in Mortal Kombat X as well. So once you finish the story, you'll essentially be wanting to play more of the game, I would hope, anyway, considering that you've gone through the story, you've enjoyed the gameplay and everything. That leads us on to the next point, which is actually the multiverse. The multiverse is something that's actually really good, and actually is a very, very nice nod to actual DC lore with like all the different Earths. So the multiverse itself is similar, very, very similar into the towers in NetherRealm's previous game, Mortal Kombat X. And if you haven't played Mortal Kombat X, please let me explain. The multiverse is a game mode that can be played offline and online, and has wild and wacky modifiers where you will travel to different Earths that have their own kind of mini stories that have like a little mini blurb on the titles of the Earths. And when you get in there, there's a bit more like you'll be fighting against Poison Ivy in these stories, or like you'll be unlocking gear for Poison Ivy, or Superman, or Robin, Captain Cold, and all these characters are in the game. And largely you just get random loot boxes, but sometimes they're actually tailored to the character. As well as that, there'll be like hints to other characters in DC that are actually in the main game, like Dr. Polaris. She'll be an assist or a hindrance, Ares, and Booster Gold. The main reason you'll be playing the multiverse is for the character gear, which is the customization, which is reasonably deep. For each character, there's roughly 1,000 pieces of gear that you'll use to personalize your chosen hero or whoever you pick in the video game. For the most part, gear is pretty cosmetic. However, in the multiverse and normal player matches, unless you have it turned off, it has a function that's very similar to an RPG, where the gear has attributes like it'll give you extra experience to level up your character, making your character stronger or have more health or stronger defense, or giving extra credit so you can buy more mother boxes. Mother boxes can be gained in the multiverse and playing online and the battle simulator, which is through the multiverse itself as well. Mother boxes are essentially loot boxes that drop random gear for every character in the game. However, this can be changed to tailor the character you are using in the options menu, so it drops characters. If you're using, say, Black Canary, they'll drop the gear specifically for Black Canary rather than random drops for every character. Speaking of mother boxes, the best way to gain mother boxes is probably to join a guild, a high-ranking guild that with lots of members. Admittedly, guilds themselves are just a group that you join, and you can do the multiverse online as opposed to the offline version. The main difference between the offline and online versions is that they have slightly different Earths, and you can get different mother boxes, meaning you'll be getting different loot if you're doing it offline and online as well. The first and only get I joined gave me roughly 60 mother boxes, going from bronze to gold, and I hadn't even done anything. Literally clicked join, went to the multiverse guild screen, and it just kept giving me mother box after mother box after mother box, which I really enjoyed because I had stacks of gear to unload through Brother Eye, and I must say I was very happy about that. Now, onto, I guess what you could say is the crux of any fighting game, is the gameplay. Is the gameplay solid? Yes. The gameplay in Injustice 2 is probably one of the best games I've played, in fighting games anyway, that I've played in a very, very long time, since the beginning of the Xbox itself, the Xbox One. And I thoroughly enjoy it because that's what I play on the Xbox One. And I thoroughly enjoy it. It's solid and it's balanced for the most part. The reason why I say it's not really balanced is because of spammers. Now, when you're playing a fighting game, you will have projectiles that will be used for zoning. But in this game, much like in Injustice Gods Among Us, zoning is very dominant. It makes for, me personally, it makes for a very, very boring game. It's just so repetitive and annoying, and I really don't like it. I like getting in the face of your opponent, but that's besides the point what I personally prefer. There is a lot of spamming going on, or aka zoning, if you're using it the way it's meant to be. But when you beat someone like a spammer, one of those characters that just do the same thing over and over again, you feel like a badass. I'm not going to lie. When you do it, it's really good. The main characters to watch out when it comes to this zoning is Dr. Fate and most definitely Deadshot. He can hang back and shoot and shoot and shoot. He is a spammer's dream. Not necessarily a zoner's dream. There's nothing wrong with zoning. But when you're spamming, he is the character that you want to be. I probably shouldn't say this, but if you're going to get the game, or if you have it already and just watching this review because you want to hear my voice, you know what I'm talking about. He's that character to go to. The game itself is pretty easy to pick up. It's a simple learning, but hard to master gameplay. So you can pick it up and you can get to grips with things, but when you want to really master it and get in depth, it's because of how the combos work in this game, that's going to be the tricky part, finding what works with what and how to actually implement that in the actual game when you're playing online against someone. My one issue with the Injustice 2 gameplay is that it just felt like a very polished Gods Among Us. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just feels like they could have done a bit more to tweak that gameplay a little bit more. It's really the same. It really feels the same if you're playing characters that you played in the first game. So like Batman, Superman, and even Catwoman. Catwoman, to be fair, she has been changed a considerable amount since Gods Among Us. But most part, the combos will work. There are a few differences here and there, though. If you want to get the most joy out of this game, you're going to try first the new characters that they have, and then try and go to the comfort zone later on if you haven't. Personally, I started using Robin. Generally, as a DC, overall comic book nerd, Robin's one of my favorite characters, and it's Damian Wayne, and despite what many people may think about him, I think he's a badass character. The amount of characters you'll get in this game as well is actually pretty good. At stock, the roster is 28 characters. With the pre-order of Darkseid, you'll get 29, who you can actually buy as well. Including the DLC characters, you get a further 9, which brings the total to 38. All in all, it is a solid game. As a fighting game fan, I'd buy it at full price just for the depth of gameplay, the customization that you get within the characters as well. It goes on forever. Also, as just a nerd in comics, if you're looking for a good alternate version Elseworld story, I'd get it at full price. But if you're just looking for the casual fighting game, you'd probably want to wait a little bit just for the price to drop or catch it on a special deal in any one of the stores that you've got near you, or even try and catch it online somewhere cheap. With that being said, please could you leave a like, subscribe, and please hit that bell notification. Thank you. I'll see you guys later.